Hello, this presentation is about evaluating the value of IT investment in an organization. Health information technology is used to improve the efficiency and quality of healthcare in an organization. If used correctly, health IT is supposed to give a variety of benefits. For example, it is supposed to reduce the number of medical errors, provide much-needed order to an otherwise crazy paper system, and increase adherence to medical guidelines. However, IT investment is very expensive, and many problems could occur in the implementation. Thus, IT could have little positive impact, or even constitute a hindrance rather than a cost saver. Thus, a thorough evaluation is necessary to determine the impact of any IT measures. In this presentation, specifically, we will be trying to discover if IT investment really has led to an increase of productivity. We do this by using correlation and causation analysis. VISTA is the electronic health record used by the Department of Veterans Affairs. Introduced in 1996, VISTA has grown and is now used by many private and public healthcare facilities throughout the U.S. and the world. The data we are using is from the Department of Veterans Affairs Budget Office. This table shows from 1998 to 2004 the Budget Office of Information, or the investment of IT, the number of records in VISTA, or the use of IT, and the VHA Cost Per Patient Index, or the productivity. Correlation is trying to find the association between two different factors. To expand on that further, correlation is measured from 0 to 1. Closer to 1 means a stronger association, and the opposite applies for closer to 0. However, even if we do find a strong association between two different factors, we cannot be sure if doing one causes another. Thus, to analyze the data from the last slide, we performed a correlation test on the three factors: investment, use, and productivity. A correlation of 0.76 was found between investment and use, 0.89 was found between investment and productivity, and finally 0.57 was found between use and productivity. All have a strong association, though investment and use and investment and productivity are stronger than use and productivity. Thus, all factors are associated. Knowing this, we can later check for causation. To better look at the data, we made a scatter plot of IT investment versus productivity. This graph shows us that there is a strong positive correlation between investment and productivity. This means that as investment of IT increases, the productivity increases. But even though we know that there is a positive correlation between IT investment and productivity, what does this mean? Does increased productivity lead to increased IT technology, or is it the other way around? Increased technology leads to increased productivity. But there is also association with use. Thus, use must also be placed into the equation. Thus, logically, there are only two different situations. Either an increase in investment of technology leads to use of IT, which leads to better productivity of the staff, or the staff's increase of productivity leads to investment in IT technology, which leads to the use of that IT. To solve this, we cannot just use correlation. We need to analyze using causation. To measure causation, the correlation of the start and middle times middle and end should equal the correlation between start and end. So in this problem, that would involve checking first the correlation between investment and use times use and productivity equals investment and productivity. Or, as on the slide, subtract the start and end, or the investment and productivity correlation, and set the equation equal to 0. The second causation equation is productivity and investment times investment and use minus productivity and use. Then, to analyze, we compare the numbers, and whichever number is closer to 0 is the more true. Thus, we can conclude that productivity leads to investment, which leads to use. The limitation of this data is first the source of the data. There could have been an error in calculating and collecting this data. Second is time. The data provided was only from 1998 to 2004. Thus, this analysis is not fully up to date. The meaning of the findings is that the productivity leads to investment, which leads to use. Thus, what happened is that the staff became more productive, which led to more IT investment, and then use of this technology. The technology itself was not the cause of the productiveness. That is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for listening.